Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into what you could call the blueprint for personal excellence.
Well, maybe the blueprint for the entire self-help movement.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate. We are unpacking the core ideas of Tony Robbins' foundational classic Unlimited Power, the new science of personal achievement.
And our mission for you is really, really focused. This isn't just a review of that, famous 400-page book.
Right.
We are surgically analyzing the specific audiobook experience.
Mm-hmm.
We want to figure out if that signature Robbins energy really survives the compression.
And if the audio format can actually deliver on that immense promise of, extraordinary success.
A promise based on harnessing your mindset and your communication.
That's the key, isn't it? His whole thing is about personal programming.
Exactly.
It promises that you can achieve almost anything just by mastering your internal operating system.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole identity of this book was establishing success as a systematic, learnable process.
A science of personal achievement, as he calls it.
Right.
It's this convergence of high-octane motivational coaching and very specific psychological techniques.
A lot of which comes from neurolinguistic programming, or NLP.
It draws very heavily from that, yes. It basically tells you, very forcefully, that success isn't random, it's replicable.
And the formula is just hidden in the habits of other successful people.
So we're putting the delivery format itself under the microscope. We know the book is huge, it's dense, it's full of exercises. Can all of that really be conveyed in a sound file?
That's what we are here to figure out for you. So let's get into it. So if you hit play on this audiobook, what's the elevator pitch? What exactly is Robbins promising to deliver?
Well, the goals he lays out are, they're both deeply internal and just incredibly ambitious. He starts big. The core message is that achievement isn't about luck. It's not about your circumstances.
It's something you can control.
100%. Something you can command. The audiobook promises to teach you, first, how to clarify what you truly want in life.
So moving past those vague desires into something concrete.
Exactly. And then it immediately promises the tools for execution.
It sounds like phase one is just clearing the deck, getting rid of the mental clutter before you can even start building.
That is a perfect way to put it. He focuses so heavily on identifying and actively rewiring your limiting beliefs.
We all have them.
Oh, absolutely. Those little internal stories that say, I can't do that, or that's way too hard.
Right.
Robbins promises a system to just eliminate those emotional barriers, specifically fear and self-doubt, by showing you that they're just learned patterns.
And it's not all just internal work, is it? I mean, there's a social component.
There is. It's also designed to help you navigate the external world.
Of people, organizations.
Precisely. It tackles that by teaching rapport building and influence.
Yeah.
But the real cornerstone, the thing that really defines this system, is the technique of modeling excellence.
Oh, yes.
The premise is so simple. Find someone who has the results you want, study their beliefs, study their behaviors, and just systematically copy that strategy.
So the idea is, if it worked for them, it can work for you.
Right. It takes the mystery out of high achievement.
That emphasis on internal control and, learned strategy, it sets a really high expectation.
Yeah.
It's telling you that peak performance isn't about some innate talent.
It's about following a set of practical strategies. The promise is that if you adopt the system, the results are, well, predictable.
Which is why the format, the audiobook itself, is so critical here.
It is. If the promise is a predictable science, the delivery has to be detailed enough to actually teach it.
And that brings us right to the audiobook experience, which is where things get interesting. The narrator is Tony Robbins himself.
And that narration is, without a doubt, a defining feature. You get that immediate authenticity, that signature high energy, enthusiastic, and often, very forceful delivery.
It feels less like someone reading a book and more like a live coaching session.
Totally. For sheer inspiration, it works beautifully. It provides that emotional charge you need if you're ready for a change.
But, and this is a massive but, here's the huge structural hurdle that our sources all point to.
The one thing you have to know.
Yeah. The widely available audiobook version is dramatically abridged.
And that condensation is the source of almost all the critical feedback we found. I mean, we are talking about condensing a 400-plus page foundational text
Really dense text.
into approximately 50 minutes of audio.
50.
It's not really an audiobook at that point. It's a high-energy summary.
So you immediately start wondering, what got cut.
Yeah.
I mean, the full book is packed with case studies, self-assessment stuff, step-by-step exercises.
And a lot of that is gone. The 50-minute version feels more like the why and the what,
Yeah.
but it leaves out so much of the crucial how.
There's a real trade-off.
A huge one. The pro is that the intensity, the passion coming directly from Robbins, it makes concepts like reframing feel so impactful.
You get that jolt.
You get that jolt of confidence, that adrenaline rush that makes you want to go tackle your goals right now.
But the major con is that the sheer brevity of it kind of undermines the whole science premise.
It does. If you were expecting a complete deep dive methodology, the runtime means the content feels too short. It's incomplete.
It's like an effective motivational trailer, but maybe a weak instructional manual.
That's it exactly. It creates this fascinating split. The delivery is like 5 out of 5 stars for motivation.
Sure.
But the depth is necessarily lower because you just can't transmit a complex system in under an hour.
Okay, so let's zoom in on what actually did make the cut. In this tight, high-energy format, what are the foundational concepts he delivers? Let's unpack that core toolkit.
We have to start with the methodology that underpins everything, which is neuro-linguistic programming, NLP.
Right.
This is the idea that our internal thinking patterns and our emotional responses are systematically linked to our language and our mental maps.
The neuro and the linguistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The belief is if you change the internal language you use and the mental pictures you hold, you can rapidly alter your emotional programming.
So, for example, if I'm anxious about a presentation, NLP would say, I can literally change that feeling by changing my self-talk about it.
Precisely. You recode the experience. Then right after that, we have the principle of modeling excellence.
This is the really pragmatic part.
It is. It's this structured, systematic approach of identifying high achievers, a great speaker, a successful entrepreneur, and literally studying and copying their beliefs, their routines, their strategies.
Now, does the short audiobook give you the steps to do that, or just the idea? Is it actionable in those 50 minutes?
It gives you the aspiration, it gives you the direction, but the deep case studies from the full text that really show you how to break down someone's strategy, those are mostly on.
So it's a great call to action.
It's a fantastic call to action, even if the comprehensive instructions are a bit thin.
Okay. Next up, the internal control piece, state management.
This is one concept that actually benefits a lot from the high-energy audio format. Robbins hammers home this idea that your emotional states, fear, excitement, stress, they are never random, they are manufactured. He teaches that you can direct your state on demand through simple physical changes. Your posture, your breathing, your mental focus.
That's so relatable. I mean, if I slump my shoulders and look down, I feel totally different than if I stand up straight.
It's immediate. And hearing him deliver it makes it feel so tangible. It moves from theory to something you can do right now.
Okay, what's the fourth tool?
The fourth is a big one, communication skills. This is presented as just essential for all success.
Internally and externally.
Both. Externally, it's about using precise language and building rapport to influence outcomes.
And internally, it's about that self-talk we mentioned before.
Yeah.
Recognizing the words you use to describe yourself, your situation.
Correct. It's a feedback loop. Bad internal communication leads to bad state management. And finally, the big umbrella over everything, belief systems and reframing.
This is the motivational heart of it all.
It is. The idea is that your beliefs are not facts. They are just subjective rules that you've created that determine your reality.
And the technique of reframing is how you change them.
Exactly. You give yourself an empowering story instead of a limiting one. So you fail a project. A limiting belief says, I am incompetent.
Right.
He teaches you to reframe it. This isn't failure. This is data. It's showing me what doesn't work. I'm learning.
And by changing that frame, you unlock the confidence to try again.
That's the core power he's trying to deliver.
That is a powerful toolkit, even in a compressed version. But we did promise a critical analysis. What are the undeniable strengths, and where does this program face the most valid criticisms?
Okay, the strengths are mostly about the experience.
Yeah.
First is just the sheer high motivation.
The jolt.
The jolt. The intense direct delivery provides this immediate action-oriented push. For anyone stuck in procrastination, that activation is, priceless.
Plus, the techniques themselves, even just as summaries, are very actionable.
They are. Things like state control and reframing are simple enough that you can use them right away to see a small shift in your behavior or your thinking.
And that keeps you engaged.
Exactly. And the core success messaging is just inherently empowering. The idea that you have way more personal control over your life than you think. That's a valuable perspective shift for anyone.
Okay, so on the flip side, We have to look at the weaknesses and criticisms.
And the most persistent one comes right back to the abridgment, the lack of depth.
Right.
The listener who wants that comprehensive scientific breakdown, they're going to be disappointed. 50 minutes just doesn't allow for it.
And that ties into another point, doesn't it? The style issues.
It does. While that forceful style is motivational for some, other listeners find it repetitive, maybe a bit simplistic.
A little old school, maybe.
A little old school, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely emphasizes enthusiasm over, say, rigorous evidence.
Which brings us back to the biggest technical weakness, the whole controversy around NLP. It's so central to the program, yet it's still highly debated outside the self-help world.
It is. And the audiobook doesn't really address any of that scientific skepticism, not in this short format.
So what's the core issue for academics?
Well, it's not whether an individual technique can work. Lots of people find state management helpful. The issue is the scientific foundation of the entire NLP framework.
Okay.
Academic psychology often critiques it because the evidence is heavily testimonial and anecdotal. It just lacks the large-scale, peer-reviewed, double-blind studies that they require for validation.
So the audiobook asks for belief.
While the academic world demands proof, and that's a crucial distinction for you to understand when you're evaluating its claims of being a science.
So pulling it all together then, if you're thinking about picking up this specific audiobook version of Unlimited Power, who is it really for?
I think it's perfectly designed for two groups.
Right.
First, beginners in the world of self-improvement. People who just need that aggressive motivational push to get out of a rut.
To break that inertia.
Exactly. And second, listeners who already know and like Tony Robbins' high-energy coaching style and just want a concise summary of his core ideas.
But if you're a listener who really demands scientific depth, or if you're already skeptical of NLP,
this is probably not the format for you. You will be left searching for those missing 350 pages of substance.
so the source ratings kind of back that up.
Right. They give us a really clear verdict. The parts tied to his delivery, narration, and practical usefulness scored a high 4 out of 5 stars.
That makes sense.
But the metric tied to comprehension, depth, and insight, that fell to 3 out of 5 stars.
So the overall takeaway is that this audiobook is a fantastic, high-octane motivational experience. It gives you practical tools for an immediate mindset change. It works best as an inspiration booster, a mindset primer.
Right. It gives you the jolt to act, but it's maybe not the deep standalone program you need to truly master the material.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider.
Yeah. If this high-energy audiobook is critiqued for having limited depth, while at the same time providing such a powerful motivational jolt, what responsibility do you, as a learner, have to pursue the actual scientific literature behind this new science of personal achievement once that initial motivation starts to fade?
Something to think about as you harness your own unlimited power. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.